And we're rolling. It's time
Hello.
for another Bag of Six. With me is Sean Moore,
Hello.
who had to update his Zoom as I'm jealous because that means you're not using it as much as I am for work. So, uh,
Thankfully, no. Yes, that's a good benefit.
but welcome. We were kind
Thanks
of
for
just
having me.
back and forth, a few options. We both are fans of movies of all different walks of life. You have a little more time than I do, so I'm jealous of that as well. I just got the kids to bed roughly about 45 minutes ago, so
Yeah, no kids
uh,
for me, so a lot of spare time.
that's awesome. So what we came to was streaming services, and everybody with so much extra time on their hands, even though I say I don't have as much time at night, still not going to actual office, et cetera, et cetera. People are at home. They're looking for things to watch. I posted a post on Facebook the other day, assuming I'd get a lot of series suggestions, which I did.
Mhm.
By the way, Lupin is really good. If you haven't started it yet, be sure to
I've
check.
heard good things. I think that might be one that I'm most of the way through Peaky Blinders now.
Mm.
So I think when I finish that, it's going to go to Lupin. I think that's going
Yeah,
to be
that's a
next.
longer voyage. So yeah, yeah,
It
yeah.
is, yeah.
We only have the first season of Lupin yet, but it's proving very enjoyable. So, and there might be a common theme in here. I am a sucker for a heist movie, and
Good to
theme in
know.
general, like sneakiness and a couple twists and turns, and like
I've
oh
got a
okay,
couple of those. Yeah.
some you see coming, some you don't, but those are always fun for me. I love those movies to pieces. So yeah, I got a couple in here that fit that category. So
I've got a
we've
couple on my long list that are
yeah.
in that heist type of
All right.
twisty, turny.
We were, we were talking about Prime, so yeah, they might overlap there because the pickings
Mhm.
are slim.
Yeah, and that's another thing that I found in trying to piece this together is HBO Max a lot stronger lineup than Prime and Hulu. Uh, Prime and Hulu, I've got a couple of decent ones, so I went 3 or 4 deep on that just in case you took the one that I was going to take, just because there's not a lot left. Like HBO Max, you can just pull all day from. There's so much on there.
It's got range. There's so many
Yeah,
like classics. Like you can do the whole Casablanca and all
yeah.
the stereotypical ones that you've heard of for generations if you haven't seen up to modern. But like they still have like random series and like sequels that you never wanted to see again. But I respect that they got them all anyway, just in case. But yeah, so there was one I had to just well, I won't say it just in case you picked one of them, but there was one trilogy on there that they didn't have the third installment, so I couldn't fairly pick the first one, which I enjoyed greatly, knowing that if people enjoyed it, they'd only get the second one and not the third. So
Well,
we'll
now
get
I want to know which trilogy you're talking about.
we'll get there. We'll get there.
I've got a trilogy of sorts with
All
one of
right.
mine, but actually, there's another one in there it's in a series as well. So we'll see if we get to that too.
All right. So yeah, so we're gonna focus on movies because I think a lot of people have been binging shows, myself included, and I've kind of fallen off my cinema because uh, it always seems like a big investment at the time. It's like, oh, this is 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Two
But
hours and 15 minutes, yeah,
right.
versus
Yeah.
your 30 hours or 45 hours of a series that you're totally okay with investing in. Yeah,
Every time. I'm like, I just watched 4 episodes of that. That was about 54 minutes long.
yeah. Oh,
Why?
I'll just watch the same 6 episodes of The Office that I've seen 30 times.
Exactly. So yeah, there's amazing content out there, but yeah, I wanted to pick a little bit from each because a lot of people aren't, you know, sycophants like myself that subscribe to everything.
Mhm.
Yeah, a lot of posts I see on social media. It's like, hey, what have you guys seen on Netflix lately? What have you seen on Hulu lately? This is what I get. This is what I don't get. So I wanted to spread it out. So we'll each do one from Netflix, Prime, Hulu, and HBO Max, and then we'll do two wild cards from any of your streaming choices. And that way we can kind of cover everybody a little bit. Hopefully, give them at least one movie out of it. If not, they can at least have a talking point.
Yeah.
Man, this was garbage, but as long as they spell my name right, I don't care.
And I wanted to go with not necessarily underrated or under the radar, but more just movies that you may have scrolled past on your your Netflix or whatever, and never really stopped on it and looked at it. But hopefully this inspires people to give that one a try and just see how they like it.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Just stuff.
So no like Bulgarian art house movies on my list.
I was
But
a little nervous at first, man, because I know you won't turn one down, and I don't think I would either. But I was like, man, I hope he doesn't come real off center on here. But I would actually take that. I would take that.
I don't get too obscure on my list. Mine are still at least people you've heard of.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got like one from the '80s. I figure
Oh, nice.
if you're gonna go back, I mean, it's again before we start recording, we were talking. It's like I talk with my friends, and we all have a similar taste, or things of that nature. We riff on certain movies that are cultish, so to speak, to us, like because we love them so much. But then, like when you're out in the wild amongst mixed company, and you either subtly drop a line in or something, and it's crickets, it's like, oh, not
you don't know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
I thought everyone had seen this.
Exactly. Oh, not everybody's Encino Man fluent. Like, not on my list, but also, one of Pauly Shore's finest. So,
a deep bench on that one too. You've got Encino Man, Biodome,
Son-in-Law. Don't forget Son-in-Law.
I forgot Son-in-Law. Too late. Forgot it.
In the Army now.
I went too deep. That's about as far as I can go.
Jury. There was a jury one.
Jury Duty.
I want to say it is. I can't say it for certain, but he keeps like trying to keep them sequestered so he can get the free accommodations of the hotel and everything on it. So
you go way deeper in Pauly Shore.
It's fantastic. I can talk Pauly all day, man. So
do you want to? We're going to start off with anyone in particular, or how do we want to do this?
You choose. We're going draft style, so I think you should pick the number one that you. If there's a slight chance that I possibly have it, from you, take that one now, because this is your Luka Doncic right here.
So I'm gonna go. I don't think you have this one, but it's one that I love the most of the ones that I have.
Good.
And it's not necessarily the best of the ones that I have, but it's the one that I've seen probably the most amount of times and will recommend the most. So this is it's part of a trilogy, a loosely packaged together trilogy called the Cornetto trilogy from one of my favorite directors, Edgar Wright, one of my favorite comedy teams, Simon Pegg and Nick Frost.
Okay.
It's the follow-up to Shaun of the Dead. It's called Hot Fuzz.
Yes.
It's a 2007 movie. If you haven't seen it, I'm guessing you probably haven't, because that's why we're doing this show. Simon Pegg's a London cop who's too good at his job, so they transfer him out to the country to kind of get rid of him. And it's supposed to be like this beautiful, picturesque, perfect town. And he finds out that things aren't as perfect as they seem. People keep dying, but they say it's just accidents. And of course, it's not accidents. And he's got to get to the bottom of it. And it's hilarious. It's eminently quotable. It's eminently rewatchable. If you haven't seen it, it's like an homage love letter to the buddy cop movies of like the 90s and 2000s, like Bad Boys 2, which it actually references.
Yes, exactly. And
all those great movies.
It's great, and it builds off of. I think you nailed it. Like Shaun of the Dead was the more well-known one,
right?
Probably because of half zombie craze and half comedy, and it worked out. But people didn't realize that, like, but the chemistry from that carried on to the next one, which is why it's like and the people of the town are hilarious.
Oh, so good, and it's got such a great cast too. You've got Timothy Dalton. You've got Olivia Colman, who goes on to win an Oscar for The Favorite. Patty Considine's in it. Jim Broadbent. A lot of great. The guy who was the Hound in Game of Thrones is in it.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. If you liked Shaun of the Dead, I think you'll like Hot Fuzz. Give it a shot. I pick up new things on it because there's so many little background details that are in it, and like repeated callback jokes that you didn't get the first time. It's so good.
And the infamous like fence jumping scene always gets
Oh yeah, that's in all three of them. Yeah,
right.
they put a twist on it from the first
Yeah,
one. It's
exactly.
and that one makes me laugh out loud every time I see it.
Now, which service is that on?
Oh, sorry, I should have led with that. Yeah, it's on HBO Max.
All right, so that's one HBO Max down. But given the fact that you have two wild cards, that does not mean it's closed for the night. What are you sipping on over there, man? I know
I
you're.
have a local beer. It's a Second Shift. One of my favorite breweries. It's a Technical Ecstasy. It's a Pilsner. Probably the beer I drink the most of volume wise. Light and crisp.
Nice.
Delicious.
It's a great name, man.
Technical Ecstasy.
Right? A lot of them are pun. I'm not above a pun. You know, everybody knows this.
I love a pun.
I love a pun. So but I do like when something's a little off center, but just sounds smooth.
Yeah.
All right. So, I think I am gonna start with Netflix
Okay.
because I already opened up the heist window. I might as well just crawl through it.
Go for it.
And I'm picking Den of Thieves,
Oh, okay.
which is a fantastic movie. It's Gerard Butler, Pablo Schreiber, which is not a household name, but if most people have seen like Orange is the New Black, so think of like the scumbag guard guy, the skinny one, not the one that got somebody pregnant later on, but the original one, that guy. So you've got, and ironically, the cop Gerard Butler is kind of a scumbag in it. So I mean, he
plays a scumbag so well.
he does. That's what he does best. And I
Yeah.
am a Gerard Butler fan. A lot of people, the whole
White House Down.
Yeah, yeah.
Which one? Wait, which one was he in? He was because it was two of the same
Fallen.
movie.
He's
Olympus Has Fallen.
Yeah,
White House is Down, Fallen, something. Okay, sorry. Continue.
No.
I got you off.
And he's even done romantic. He did the P.S. I Love You. He's done straight to streaming, whatever. But this one is fantastic. O'Shea Jackson's in it. Ice Cube's son plays a great performance. But yeah, it's kind of the scumbag, dirtbag cop, but still on the right side of the law here, trying to thwart the super criminal in Pablo Schreiber, who is one step ahead of him most of the way. But just does the old man still got it? Does the drunk, the philanderer, the broken marriage, all your favorite tropes in there of a cop? Can he still thwart this crime? And there's enough twists and turns in there, and it definitely has a full-on twist at the end, which obviously won't spoil because I want you guys all to watch it. But also some great shootout scenes. There's a lot of good action in it. It's just it's revved up, man, and it's ready to
Nice.
go. Like I said, I always love a good twist and turn, and a caper that I'm not exactly sure which way it goes, because it's that classic, why are you doing that? You're giving everything away, but they're purposely
They're gonna zig when you think they're gonna zag.
You know that, because it's like, okay, when's it coming? And you kind of figure out a few things, but then you don't. And so I like to be somewhat tricked. And yeah, Den of Thieves.
Nice.
Netflix,
Den of Thieves.
I highly recommend it.
And that's your Netflix.
That's my Netflix.
Okay.
Got a couple more in the background there.
Is this a snake draft where you get to double up now?
Nah, if there's more than two, I do snake, but I just go one, two. You're not really. Yeah.
So prompted by your twists and turns, I'm going to go with my Hulu choice. And this is why I didn't want to say underrated or under the radar, because you can't really call this movie underrated by any measure, because it's been about as highly rated as you can possibly get. But a lot of people didn't see it because it's a foreign movie and there's reading involved, and people don't like to read.
No.
But the biggest twist and turn that I've had in a movie theater, I would say in the last 10, 15 years, is Parasite.
Oh, sure.
And it's, again, not underrated. Best
No,
picture.
Yeah. Got a lot of hype recently, yes.
But a lot of people haven't seen it.
No, you're right. Yeah, you're right. And it wasn't really available until long ago.
So now it's on Hulu. If you aren't familiar with the story, so it's a poor Korean family, and it's all in Korean. It's all subtitled. You're just gonna have to get used to it, push through it. You know, put on your reading glasses, put on your specs. But it's a poor family in Seoul trying to basically ingratiate themselves into a rich family in Seoul. And I won't give away what happens. I mean, they
Right.
get ingratiated in the family, and then about halfway through, everything turns on its head. That like I was sitting through it, and my wife and I and a friend of ours do a best picture thing every year that you could go to the theaters where over 2 Saturdays they show all the best picture nominees. So we watched all of them, and Parasite was on the second weekend, and I was like, you know, I heard a lot of good things about it. So I'm sitting there and like we're like halfway in, and I'm like, okay, like
Right.
what's going on here? Like, are we gonna get to something? And then someone shows up at the door, and everything changes. And it's the last 45 minutes of that movie are as gripping, as
Yes.
intense as
Yes.
anything you can have seen in the last 10 years.
Yes.
It's one of my favorite movies of the last decade. If you're just turned off by it because it's a foreign movie, don't watch it. It's great.
Right. Right. Yeah, I don't really like that classification of it, really. I mean, I don't know. Thrillers is that more
Psychological thriller?
Yeah, I would kind of go more that route than just
Yeah.
horror movie, like yeah.
A bit like it's certainly one that makes you think
Yeah.
after you're done watching it, and you're like, wow, what did I just see, and what just happened, and what are they trying to say about this? And there's so much like layered in there with all the imagery to it. So it's about as artsy as I'm going to get on my list, I think. Well, maybe I got one more, but yeah, it's got a lot going on, and well worth a watch. One of my favorite movies of the last decade.
I didn't think they had the balls to pick it, actually, the Academy.
Yeah, I didn't either.
So yeah,
I thought it was going to be 1917, which is a very good movie. Like right. 1917 a lot. I was sure that was going to win.
Yeah.
I thought Parasite was.
I thought it was.
Better.
Yeah, it was the. Oh man, why am I only thinking of Us right now? What's Peele's first movie? Why am I blanking? Get Out. I thought it was like another Get Out. Like,
yeah,
we're gonna go some shine on this. You guys should all see it, but it's still not quite Oscar caliber.
No, so we're gonna give it to. Yeah, it's definitely. It was a surprise for me too.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. Well, man, I didn't know what I was gonna go with next, but when you hit me so hard with that, I got to go a complete 180.
Okay.
And pick the exact opposite of that movie. And I'm going to hit Amazon Prime.
Okay.
And this is a movie that is one of my favorite comedies of all time, but it's polarizing. Everybody that watches it loves it or hates it.
Okay.
If you're remotely offended by offensive language or a vulgarity, I will say avoid it. This is definitely not for children. It is based on a Saturday Night Live skit that was pretty popular, that I actually hated the skit. But I love the movie, and it's MacGruber, man.
Oh, I love MacGruber.
MacGruber.
Oh.
It's just been added to Amazon Prime recently. I
didn't see that.
I own it on
my Amazon Prime list. I didn't see that.
Yeah, I own it on DVD, so I'm already covered. But now that it's on there, it's just one less step for me. I will I will watch MacGruber over and over again. I had a pit in my stomach laughing so hard. Again, people can hate on Ryan Phillippe. I feel he's self-aware and he knows his range, but he does a great job in this movie, kind of being the straight guy. And then Kristen Wiig, who's a favorite of many, plays a good supporting part in here. It's not as one note as her role on the on the skit. It's vastly. Val Kilmer as the villain.
Yep.
Is the chef's kiss on it all. He is phenomenal in this movie.
The best thing he's done since that Nacho picture.
Cunt, and I did say it with a PH. Anybody wanting to believe me at home? He is, but yeah, there is a lot of very vulgar monologues and descriptions of things.
Yep.
MacGruber pulls no punches, but yeah, when he comes out and pulls his tape deck out with the on the handle, coming in, dropping the finger with the white. Oh man, that entrance! I could go on
It,
and on. I could quote his interactions with WWE superstar Chris Jericho, Tug, and that whole thing that I won't spoil. But man, it's fantastic, and I guarantee you, anybody listening now, you're gonna watch it, and you're either gonna turn it off 15 minutes in, or you're gonna have the best ride of your night. And I'm here. I'm here to open that window for you. So definitely watch MacGruber.
and I'm with you. I think you hit it on the head. I didn't like the sketch. I'm
No,
like, why are they making a movie out of this stupid ass sketch?
no.
Like, what are you possibly going to do with it? And I think I caught it on HBO or one of the premium channels,
Right.
and I caught like the last like 2/3 of it. And I was like, oh, I'll check this out and see what it's like. I got nothing else going on right now, and I laughed my ass off. I'm like, I did not expect that. But yeah, it's really funny. I'm certainly not one that's going to be shying away from language or vulgarity. And
Oh man, yeah, it's the farthest from highbrow. That's why I had it. It wasn't
right
second
after Parasite, yeah,
to go from Parasite to that. It's just had to be the
get your
move
Best
there.
Picture nominee, and then go to MacGruber.
Yeah, yeah, man. It's fantastic. But yeah, and I will say I probably do raise a lot of SNL movies a little bit higher than a lot of people. Um, because I didn't think Ladies Man was that horrible.
You've
Night
got
of the
that
Lost.
that superstar picture above your bed, the poster of Molly Shannon.
That's
Yeah,
my Night at the Roxbury, man. It's
yeah.
just I don't mind most of them, man. But this one was, there's this one way up here. Then there's like Coneheads, and then there's the rest. But
Well, you got Wayne's World in there too,
true,
and that whole franchise.
true. I kind of like Coneheads better than Wayne's World, man.
Oh man, no.
Yeah, yeah.
I can't go with you there.
Farley Factor.
That's true.
Farley
I do typically bump anything up a couple of points if Farley's in it,
Yeah, I
but
don't know.
I can't go there with the uncut.
Farley, everything in there just kind of worked for me. Wayne's World, I
I think
enjoyed.
even inflating it for Farley, I'm still not there with you.
All right, all right, all
But
right.
it does have the one really good song from Red Hot Chili Peppers that's not just
Oh yeah.
California.
Oh, don't spoil it. You're the music guy. I know this. Twisting and turning, your feeling is burning. Is that the one? Breaking the
No,
no.
I don't think so. Now I got to look
Soul
it
to
up.
squeeze. Soul to squeeze.
Soul to Squeeze. That's what I was thinking of. Yeah.
Yeah. I
You're
knew
the
I
music
did.
guy. I'm not the music guy.
Yes, man. You know bands that I've never even heard of, dude. Like,
That doesn't mean I'm the music guy. You're the music guy.
no, no,
You're the music guy.
no.
I'm making you the music guy.
All right. I'll take that. As long as we have to stop before 2001. As if anybody watched my country episode knows that most of my modern stars were peaked in about 97. So all right. So yeah, I got MacGruber and Den of Thieves,
Okay.
and you have
I'm gonna go. I've got Hot Fuzz and I've got Parasite.
man, got it.
So I'm gonna go with my.
So
What's that?
that's a night right there in itself. Those four.
That's a good night.
That's a
You're gonna
great
laugh and then you're gonna be freaked out and you're gonna think about stuff.
night.
So now I'm gonna start out with again more on the fun side, and this is another Edgar Wright movie. He did Hot Fuzz. He does some of my favorite stuff. This one is, I would say, the ultimate style over substance movie, but the style is so fantastic that it's worth watching. It's from 2010. It's Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Okay. Fantastic.
So it's basically like because it was a graphic novel.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a graphic novel and a video game come to life.
Before
The
everybody
story's kind of what?
So before everybody was doing that, because the
Yeah.
graphic novel to movies like was way ahead of that.
Yeah, this was 2010.
Yeah.
So the story's kind of basic. He Michael Cera, he's a difficult pill to swallow for some people. He's like a 6'2" toddler, but he's actually really good in this. He fits the lead character perfectly, I think, for it. He meets a girl, wants to get with the girl, but she's got 7 evil exes that he has to defeat in combat before they can be together. And so it's got a great supporting cast to it. Mary Elizabeth Winstead's the female lead, but it's got Anna Kendrick, Aubrey Plaza, Chris Evans, Jason Schwartzman, in probably one of my favorite roles of him. But yeah, it's hilarious, and it's got a lot of fun action to it, a lot of video game looking action, and graphic novel looking set pieces to it.
Yeah, it's not really breaking fourth wall, but it's definitely it's one of those movies where
it's winking. Yeah, it's winking at you.
Yeah. It's putting graphics in there, and you're part of it, the experience without them directly talking to you. And my sons have recently I brought out our old Nintendo Wii. We did buy a Switch, but I blew the dust off that guy and accumulate them. And every time we're playing Mario, whenever there's a Bob-omb, I always think of Sex Bob-omb.
Sex Bob-omb, yeah.
From there, which is the band name. And so, that always, every time anybody says that, I'm automatically taken back there.
We busted out the old Wii, not this past Christmas, but the Christmas before, and played a little old-fashioned Mario Kart. And if you haven't done that in a while, it's worth it. Go for it. It's a lot of fun.
Oh, dude.
We got the Switch and played the Mario Kart on that, and that's great too. But the old style Wii one is that's nostalgia.
That's the one I've been breaking them in on. Yeah, we're in Moo Moo Meadows. We're taking it nice and slow, man. Like we're in the mall. We're doing all that. So I'm bringing them along. But yeah,
nice.
It's been fun, dude. They love it. But yeah, we got the Switch one. We've been holding off on it. It's like they don't know when new games come out, or they don't know if there is a new game.
So it's mind-blowing for them.
Right. Let's milk these for all they're worth before we bring out and overstimulate them. So yeah.
Right. Then once you do that, like everything from then on is just going to be diminishing returns on how fun and how cool it is.
Exactly. All right, fantastic pick. And what streaming service was that on, did you say?
That's on Netflix. Yeah, I should probably say that.
That's
the second of 3 times that I've forgotten to say that. It's on Netflix.
All right. So I have my Netflix and my Prime. I have not done my Hulu yet.
My lovely wife just brought me another beer.
Look at you guys.
Isn't she nice?
It is. All right. Well, I think I'm going to say my Hulu because I have a lot of HBO Max.
Okay.
So I'm going to try to cut it up a little bit. So
gotcha.
I'm going to go to an HBO Max now.
All right.
And you were talking about subtitles. I'm going to pick probably one of my favorite movies of all time, which is on HBO Max. And I'm surprised not that many people have seen it, but again, it is subtitled. It's a particularly long movie, but it is organized crime movie set in Rio de Janeiro.
Okay. I think I know where you're going.
Exactly. If you want to talk about Benny, Rocket, Little Zay, Knockout Ned, and the whole crew from City of God.
City of God, such a great movie.
It's beautiful. So, I mean, not only is it action-packed and an emotional ride of the sweet kid that wants to be a photographer, and just the environment that he's growing up in, and seeing what goes around him as he matures. It's also the colors, the scenes, everything is made so beautiful that you're in it, and like it kind of goes in like this hippie vibe a little bit, but there's always still that dark-seated
undertone to it.
It always comes up.
It's like no matter what he does, that's always there.
Yes.
And it's such a great movie.
And it's a love story. I mean, he's always chasing after the girl, and yeah, everything about it. It touches on a little bit of everything, but it is grimy. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I mean,
Yeah.
it is an organized crime movie, and it is Rio de Janeiro. So I mean, there are children killing grown people in this movie.
Yeah.
So I'm not going
That's
to
one of the
try.
things that messed me up about that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, one of the opening scenes, how little Zay grows to power, is the hotel scene when everybody bails and this little kid who's little Dice at the time, he just executes everybody in the hotel.
And
And
you're like, oh, it's going to be that kind of movie.
right,
I wasn't aware of that.
we were playing soccer a little bit ago.
Right.
Or I guess you guys call it football, and now this happened, and then it kind of jump cuts, and then you realize you're off and running now. I mean, the supervillain has been created. The main power, your, whatever, your Tony Montana or whatever,
Yeah.
you want to name this guy, has been created, and you're going to see the fallout from it, and what's happening, and how, Rocket's going to course his life through this as, you grow to appreciate his innocence navigating these waters. I love that movie so much.
It's a great choice. Great choice. Love that movie. Great movie. Highly recommend it.
But again,
So I have Amazon Prime
subtitled,
left.
so put your phone down.
What?
I said it again, all subtitled, so put your damn phones down.
Oh yeah. It's we were talking about the series earlier, and I've started to subtitle Peaky Blinders because I can't understand what they're saying half of the time. So
Yeah.
I found it a lot easier to follow now that I'm not holding my phone and doing something on that while watching it.
Yeah.
Like, wait, what did he? I got to go back 10 seconds. What did he just say?
Oh, I did it on Ted Lasso too, man. Like, I feel like I'm having a hard time, and I'm just getting older, dude. My ears are starting to ring a little bit more. I'm just like, wait, what did she say? That sounded really raunchy, and I don't think I got all the insight. And so, yeah, man, I did.
So I'm to my Amazon Prime, and here's where we learn that Amazon Prime's lineup is not as strong as everybody else's. I have a couple that I really like, but they're certainly not. They're ones that a lot of people have seen. We can talk about that, like our just cut type ones at the end. I think I'll save that for that. I'm going to go with another 2000s movie for me, 2007 Zodiac
Oh,
on Amazon Prime.
fantastic.
So that's a David Fincher, who is another one of my favorite directors. The Zodiac Killer in San Francisco. Great cast in this one too: Jake Gyllenhaal, Robert Downey Jr., Mark Ruffalo. The whole mystery behind how the murder started to happen and trying to unravel who did it, and they still have never really figured it out. The movie points very hard at one person, but
Yeah.
by the end of it, you're like, oh, it was probably him, even though that person's now dead and they never convicted him of it. So
We're not saying, we're just saying.
we're not going to say it's this guy, but it's this guy. Yeah.
When I stomped my foot, hello, Mr. Thompson.
Hello, Mr. Thompson. I think he's talking to you.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's a very well done, kind of tense psychological, what's going to happen next type thing, even though it's a historical nonfiction. I guess it's probably a fiction-y,
Loosely
twist on
based on,
nonfiction.
they have their disclaimers,
Yeah,
loosely based on actual facts, or but yeah.
they took some liberties, but it's set in the late 60s, so they did a really good job of kind of putting you in San Francisco at that time.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And that was Fincher for me before I knew he was Fincher.
Yeah.
Right. I knew I liked what I was watching, but I wasn't watching because of him.
Yeah.
I was watching because, like, probably the same reason all people watch so many true crime documentaries, right? That's why. I was like, I love Silence of the Lambs. Of course I'm going to watch Zodiac,
Right.
And I, wasn't old enough at the time to really appreciate the story. So yeah, I was like, put me in this universe. And they did, man. It was
Yeah, it's immersive, and it's kind of messed up in a lot of
Yeah, well,
spots. It's about a murderer, so yeah, it's gonna be a little
right.
messed up in
Let's
spots.
say if you don't know that going in, then
Yeah,
it's like, oh, are they going to go through each of the signs and tell you
yeah. Oh, yeah, they're gonna do it.
about murderers?
Yeah, Zodiac, 2007.
That's a fantastic pick. All right, man. Do I want to drop my Hulu yet? Because I'm between two,
Okay.
and I'm not going to go that. Because I'm trying. I'm following your lead, and I'm going back. So my
Okay.
Hulu, I can go with the famous director that I'm a big fan of, a la your Fincher pick.
And my Edgar Wright pick.
True.
Two Edgar Wright picks now, actually.
As I was saying. Or since you said another 2000s movie, do I drop my 80s in here now?
I'm interested.
And I'm tempted. And I'm going to. I'm going back to HBO Max, and I'm going to select Midnight Run.
I don't know Midnight Run.
Perfect.
Tell me about it.
Waiting for this.
Okay.
Is Robert De Niro.
Okay.
Is
Good
basically
start.
You can call him like a bounty hunter, so to speak, but not in a Boba Fett type of way.
I was going to ask, does he have a suit of Beskar? Because that would bring me much more into the story right off the bat.
This is not the way. It's more leather jackets and chain smoking. Robert De Niro dealing with bail's bondsmen and trying to find people to bring them back to where they need to go. Type of bounty hunting.
Okay.
And he is tracking down Charles Grodin, known as the Duke, and
Not the dude.
he needs to bring him back. And he is going against other people looking for him as well. That's the overall plot of it.
Okay.
It is also in the 80s. So it is planes, trains, automobiles. It's all cars. It's low transportation. It's payphones. It's chain smoking in restaurants. Like the ambiance of it all takes you way back. But
nice.
The budding relationship, because of course De Niro's the one that gets to the Duke first. So he's
wouldn't be much of a movie without that.
He's pulling pranks on his adversaries, but he still is. This isn't like Meet the Parents, Robert De Niro. This is still De Niro, but he's still
not Rocky and Bullwinkle De Niro.
No, yeah, it's not. It's still De Niro, but he does, have a couple moments of levity, and he's getting one up on everybody because he's the best. And his budding relationship of bringing the Duke back. Joey Pants is a main character in this as well.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a fantastic movie, and yeah, it's one of my favorite comedies of the 80s. It's kind of like Mr. Saturday Night of like those. Not. I'm not saying that they're mirror movies, but it's one of those like De Niro gems that nobody seems to ever talk about. And
never heard of it.
Yeah. Midnight Run, dude.
I'll check that out.
Get into it.
Awesome.
You'll love it. I guarantee it.
Midnight Run. I'm going to put that on my list now. Back to me. All right. Now I've got a list of, now that I've got through my 4 major ones, I'm to my wild card.
Right now it's just all Max from here on out.
Man, this is going to be tough because I've got... Because you haven't taken any of mine yet, and I've got 12 on the side now. So which of these 12 do I pull in? Yeah, I'll go HBO Max for my first. And when you started to talk about HBO Max and a subtitled movie, this is our 3rd subtitled movie of the list already. 2000s again. And you're talking about beautiful set pieces and subtitles. At first, I thought you were going to go with this movie until you started talking about Rio. This one is set in about 2,000 years ago in China. It's a Jet Li movie called Hero.
Okay. Yeah, man,
So
I
it's
haven't seen that since it came out. So yeah, you're gonna have to catch me up.
sure. So it is one of the. It was right after Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, about 2 years after that. I think if it had come out first, it would have gotten a lot more acclaim because it's very similar as far as the kind of crazy that era uh, Shanghai, Hong
Yeah,
Kong style um, martial arts to it. But the cinematography in it, the set pieces in it, it's gorgeous to watch. It's gorgeous to look at. Like each scene is a different color palette. So you have like one where everybody's like in blues and one where everybody's in reds. And um, the basic plot to it is Jet Li is the like a nameless hero, and he
okay.
is actually going to assassinate the king because the king of this region had murdered his family and a bunch of other people. And he was trying to get these three other martial arts people, specialists, to help him out in it. And they do for a little part of it and they don't for part of it. And their reasons for it are actually meaningful and add to it. And it's not just the action to it. And there's kind of red herrings thrown in there. They have some fight scenes that don't actually happen, and like he's telling a tale about what happens. But at the end of it, like I'm not going to give away what happens at the very end of it, but it's mostly about the fight scenes and the just beautiful to watch movie that it is.
Nice. Is that the one? Is this all right? I might be getting my Jet Li's confused. Is that the one where they fire all the arrows and
Yep.
fully blocks out the sun?
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the
Kind of
one.
300 before 300. Yeah, I think 300 stole that from
Yeah,
Hero.
yeah, yeah. No, no, no. This one had it first. Definitely, 100%.
Yeah, there's a scene where like there's like a calligraphy school and the army's coming in and they're shooting all the arrows at the calligraphy
Yes,
school.
yes. Okay.
He's up on top of the roof with one of the women and they're doing all the weird arm stuff and blocking all the arrows and saving the people in the
Yes.
school.
I own it on DVD. I'm saying I keep
Ah,
bringing it up. I keep bringing it up. I'm still the guy with big fat envelopes of
oh
DVDs.
yeah.
I will never give them away. I don't care.
I moved a bunch of those and my wife was like, why are you moving these? They have them on. You can just digitally download them now. I was like, well, I've had these for 20 years. I got to
Right.
keep them. I
I mean,
might watch my DVD of Fight Club that I got in 2002 again sometime.
exactly. And, you know,
Never know.
it hurt me enough to get rid of the art because yes, I had like the Criterion Collection Boogie Nights, like with the '70s like artwork on the front. Like it took
Mm-hmm.
me enough just to take it out of there and put it in the envelope. So we've come a long way. So you know, I'm it's okay.
It's no longer mint condition, Ryan.
I know, I know.
It's lost all its resale value.
Oh, and I was that guy that was at you know, Family Video or Blockbuster when they were like, we had too many of these because it was hot, and now we got to sell them all like three for $10, and I'm
Yep.
just like I'm a DJ in the crates at vinyl, dude. I'm just like,
Yeah.
yep, 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 yep. I just, yeah.
I've got boxes of that stuff in the basement.
So yeah, so I put sweat equity into it too. So
Yeah.
that's why I'm not getting rid of this. I hunt and pecked, and I picked my collection exactly the way I wanted it. I'm keeping it. All right, fantastic thing. Oh man, now I'm getting tight. I got not many spaces and a lot of. All right, I kind of teased at it before, so I'm gonna pick my Hulu.
Okay.
I had two actual Hulu originals. I was
Okay.
gonna, I was gonna choose, but I'm gonna save those for honorable mentions at the end.
Okay.
They were good. So I'm between. Ooh, trying to think of what more people. Hmm. All right. I was. Now I'll say that for honorable mentions too, because I think it might be a little bit too overexposed. I'm
Okay.
gonna pick the first documentary that any of us have listed yet, and maybe it hits a little harder because it was shot here in Illinois, in Rockford, actually.
I
Uh,
don't know what this is going to be.
Yeah, it's a young kid shot 12 years of footage as a skateboarder with his friends, and it's a coming of age story from them becoming skateboarders into men. One of them ends up having a child early, and it documents, their relationship and the troubles there. One of the kids is black, and it really tackles his struggles of being in Rockford, skateboarding in a predominantly white environment, and it's called Minding the Gap. It was actually nominated for an Oscar.
I've
It,
never heard of this.
yeah, it's a fantastic documentary, and yeah, it's just kind of alluded toward true crime earlier, and I think a lot of people tend to gravitate there. This is a little bit more true to life, and
Yeah.
it's a story of growing old with your friends, and it's been, it's not Boyhood where there's a fictional story shot with the same actors over
Yeah.
time. These are real humans and their actual lives as they go along, and one of the main characters father dies. I mean, it's a gripping movie, and it really hit all the right strings. And so, like, a lot of mine are a little bit more, well, I would say, I guess City of God's not lighthearted, but MacGruber, Midnight Run, I was picking a little comedy. I was trying to balance it out there. So, if you need a change of pace from your true crime binge and all those other things that a lot of people have been watching, definitely check it out. Minding the Gap. It came out a couple years ago. I think it was 2018.
Huh, okay.
It really wasn't on any streaming services for a long time, but I did find it on Hulu. And so, yeah, definitely check it out.
Very interesting. I'd never heard of that. That sounds like it would be definitely worth a watch.
Yeah, no, I mean, I highly recommend it because I was a big fan of, and I still am, like, skate videos, skaters. I watch a
Mhm.
lot of, girl videos. My friend Chris Pickard that's been on here, he was a big skater. So we used to, like, in our spare time, we have a few beers, we'd watch that. And that's how we fell into, like, the old Big Brother, CKY, which became Jackass,
Yep.
that old culture way back in the 90s. And so when I first heard of the documentary, I thought it was just a skating documentary. So when I first watched it, and it is Minding the Gap, the whole title is based on that.
Mhm.
They try to build an indoor skating park throughout the movie and things of that nature. But I thought that was the primary focus, and it totally flipped me and caught me off guard, and I ended up enjoying it much more than I expected to. I just thought it was going to be really cool skate footage, and, like, guys sitting around drinking 40s and just
Mhm.
like basically what mid 90s was, but
Oh
like
yeah.
documentary form. And it was
Some no effects in the background.
right. It was completely opposite of that, and I loved it. And so, yeah, Minding the Gap documentary.
Very cool. All right, I'm gonna go with for my last one, my last wild card. I'm gonna go with one that is on Fubo and Hoopla. If you've got one of those, I'm
Nice.
throwing out a nugget for you.
Yes.
Just because we've touched so much on Max and Netflix in particular. So let's throw one for the people that have got the ones that are soon to fail. For the meantime, you can watch one of these delightful nuggets. This is a 2014 movie, back to the kind of twist and turn psychological thriller type one, uh, starring Alicia Vikander, Donald Gleason,
Okay.
and Jason Isaac, called Ex Machina.
Okay.
Uh,
That's where it's
one,
living now.
it's on Fubo and Hoopla.
Okay.
You can also rent it on
Okay.
Amazon Prime, but it's not free. Otherwise, it would have been my Amazon Prime choice.
That was my attempt of his disco dance there.
Oh God, that scene, one of the more surprising scenes. So yeah, if you haven't seen it?
I'm gonna tear up the fucking dance floor.
So it's Isaac is he's a billionaire that lives out in the middle of nowhere. Donald Gleason is an employee of his that wins some sort of contest to
Definitely
come out
close
and
to
visit
that
him.
wins.
Yeah, I think they rigged it to have him
Yeah.
win it. But Alicia Vikander is his AI robot. And Gleason's there to give the Turing test to see if it's if you're not familiar with that, it's can a computer basically have sentience and pass itself off as human. So this is twisting and turning. Um, is she sentient or isn't she?
Right.
Like back and forth. Each scene is like a different piece of the puzzle to it. And in the middle of it, so in that all psychological thing, he decides to have a disco dance party, and you're like, "What is going
I
on?"
love Isaac so much in this movie, dude. Like
He's so good in this movie. He's
so good.
you can see he's an eccentric billionaire that's probably gone too far in his head because he's so isolated, and the only things that he interacts with are robots.
No doubt.
But yeah, it's great. The ending is fantastic.
Yes.
Alicia Vikander is fantastic in it. The effects in it are fantastic. It's such a good movie. So worth seeing.
Oh man, yeah. Yeah.
And I got something for all you Fubo fanatics.
Right. That's I think that completely escaped my radar because I don't think I've seen it on any of the other. I didn't look there. Like I said before we recorded, I said I found Greyhound on Apple TV. Yeah, that didn't die, but because other than Ted Lasso, there's really not much reason to own it.
No.
All right. Damn, that was a good one to end on. Oh, that was a great knockout punch. Now I
Thank
don't know
you.
what to do. Now I don't know what to do.
Bring it. Go big.
All right, I was between two on Hulu because I was gonna go back to HBO, but now my HBO picks seem pale in comparison.
You're damn
So
right.
I'm gonna have to take it back to the somewhat Wayback Machine, and many people may have seen it because of the star character being a hunk, as the kids call it. Is that what they call kids?
Still do, yeah. Oh, sure, yeah.
Oh, sure. That's hot.
Beefcake.
Yeah, beefcake. Exactly. He's the star of it, and his co-star was also. Well, she just recently sang at the presidential inauguration.
Oh.
But yeah, I'm going back. So no, you might think I'm saying Star is Born, but I'm not.
Not Star is Born with a hunk and someone who sang at a presidential inauguration.
I'm taking Soderbergh's Out of Sight on Hulu.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Fantastic movie. George Clooney is the criminal, and J-Lo is the cop trying to track him down. Fantastic relationship between Clooney and Ving Rhames as career criminals. Wonderful performance by Steve Zahn, who steals the show.
Yeah.
Fantastic John Cheadle in there as Snoop. There's some great prison scenes. That was one of the things I felt was missing from them. I love prison movies too. I really was hoping the Hulu original. I don't even know if that was a Hulu original with our guy. Man, now I'm going to forget the title of it. As I go off on a tangent.
Oh, go ahead.
All right. Our guy, Jamie Lannister, was in
Shot Caller.
Yes. I was hoping that was still available because I love
Nikolai Coster-Waldau.
Yeah, it's a great movie. Did you watch
that? It is.
I loved that movie. And that was going to make my Hulu pick. But in the pursuit of finding that, I realized they were still showing Out of Sight. And I love that movie. There's definitely, it's sexy because of the ongoing cat and mouse game between J-Lo and Clooney, of course. It's hilarious between Zahn and Cheadle and a lot of the flashback prison scenes, but it's also still coming back to it, a caper movie at heart between the
love your capers.
Uncut diamonds, in the fish tank and what's happened with them and what's going on with them. It checks off a lot of boxes for me. And if you haven't seen it, again, I don't know if I want to call it Soderbergh's best because there's a lot of candidates there, but it's definitely one of my favorites. And
he's got such a good repertoire there.
Yeah. So I had to finish it off there because.
And it's amazing that we can go too deep on movies that star hunks and people that sang at the inauguration.
Right.
As soon as you said it, I'm like, you're going Star is Born?
Right, Bradley Cooper. No,
Right?
is a hunk. And Lady Gaga did sing, but no J Lo and George Clooney. So yeah, that was it. What do you got in any honorable mentions, my man?
All right, I got a bunch, so I'm gonna run through these on Peacock. So another deep cut service.
Yeah, yeah.
This is an Aaron Sorkin, one of the least watched Aaron Sorkins. Tom Hanks, Philip Seymour Hoffman, Julia Roberts, Amy Adams, Charlie Wilson's War.
I have not seen it.
So it's a
I'm gonna write that down.
true-ish story.
Right.
Sure, again they took some liberties, but the Cold War, when the Russians invaded Afghanistan, we had kind of a shadow war against them proxied in Afghanistan. Like we supplied the Mujahideen with weapons, and it was based on this Texas congressman. So you see Tom Hanks do a Texas accent, which is worth it. But Philip Seymour Hoffman is fantastic in it. One of my favorite movie scenes. Him and the guy from Mad Men. I'm drawing a blank on his name. Sterling.
John Slattery.
John Slattery. Thank you. Yeah, he's got a scene with Philip Seymour Hoffman. That's one of my favorites. That's great.
All right.
But yeah, fantastic movie. Not too walkie and talkie for Sorkin.
I
but
think
great dialogue, great acting.
Yeah, I think I was in my Hanks oversaturation point when that came out, where I was like, dude, I'm over Hanks. I don't really get this. I'm not gonna watch it, and then I never got back to it. So I'm glad you brought that up. That's gonna be on the short list. What else?
I've got same person that did Ex Machina, followed up with one in, I guess, 2017, 2018, somewhere in there. Natalie Portman in Annihilation.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's another one. They marketed it really weird, like it was going to be like a sci-fi action movie, and it was a messed up psychological thriller about kind of a, to summarize it quickly, like a meteor strikes and it creates this thing that they call the shimmer, and it looks like you're going through, like if you see oil on top of water, that kind of shimmery looking stuff. It's like a bubble of that. You go inside it, and it's like it's mutated everything in its area. It's slowly growing. So she's got to go in there because her husband is the only thing that's ever come out of that, and he came back like a year after he left.
Right.
So yeah, you go in to the shimmer, and everything is weird and mutated and messed up, and it kind of messes with you. And it's a psychological thriller, great movie.
Cut them off there. Let's rapid fire. Let's go.
Knives Out. Amazon Prime.
Sure.
Mission Impossible series, the new ones.
Oh yeah.
You got Fallout on Amazon Prime. You got Rogue Nation on Fubo, if you're another Fubo person.
I think Rogue Nation might still be on Prime too. I think I saw them both.
Okay. That's
I like you shilling for Fubo though, man. Are you pulling a short here or something?
I own stock. I got another Oscar Isaac one, Inside Llewyn Davis, is on Amazon Prime. Great Coen Brothers movie. On Hulu, Sorry to Bother You, which is he's a call center guy, and he's trying to sell people things.
Writing this down.
It's a black guy, and he finds out, one of his friends like, oh, if you use your white voice, you sell a lot more things, and so he does. And it's a comedy, like a satire on the current world. It's not at all what you'd expect. It's brilliant. And it's fantastic.
I'm in. All right.
You've got the Before Sunrise and Before Sunset.
That was the trilogy I was talking about that they didn't have Before
so good
on there.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm glad that was on your list too.
Yeah.
Those are great.
I felt bad sending somebody without giving them the final chapter, man. I didn't want
to. And
how did they not have that? They have like 4 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movies and like all the Jaws, but you don't have Before Midnight? Like it was
right. You can find Before Midnight on Amazon, and you can rent it for $2.99. I looked that up too, and I was like, well, Before Midnight's probably my favorite of the three, and it's not on there. I
Yeah,
don't know that I can give you the
I
first
was
two, which are both great.
baffled. I was
Yeah.
baffled why they didn't include that on there. So yeah, that was the one I
And
was
then
talking.
I've got one more. If you're a Beatles fan, there was a movie that's it's on HBO Max called Yesterday.
Oh, sure, sure. Yeah,
So it's basically if the
Beatles and everything.
Beatles kind of blinked out of existence, except for one guy who was a singer songwriter who was failing, and he just borrows all of their songs and becomes a big star. But it's if you love the Beatles, it's all the Beatles music. If you love Lily James like I do, she's the female lead in it. She's fantastic.
It's a brilliant concept movie. I mean,
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
yeah, I mean, you know, he's playing in front of his parents, and they're just like talking over
Yes.
him. He's like, God
And he's
damn it,
like,
I'm trying to play you the
this is
greatest
Let It
song
Be.
ever recorded.
Yeah. You're, you're the first people to ever hear this song. Would you just be quiet?
Oh, someone's feeling very fond of it. It's like, fantastic. All right. Yeah, I add Snowpiercer down for Netflix. I know they got
Yep.
the show and stuff, but I
I've
haven't
not seen the show. Have you seen the show?
huh?
Have you seen the show version?
No.
I haven't either, but the movie was so good. I'm kind of scared to watch the
Right.
show and have to be a
Yeah.
disappointment.
Right. So I kind of want to throw that out there, you know, classes, post, you know, world's all cold. Everybody's on a train, but as they keep moving up cars, they keep going up the social ladder. It's very Chris Evans. He's the Evans. That's the Chris in that one, right? Evans. Yeah.
Yep.
I get the Pine, Evans, Pratt. I get them all. So
Yep.
yeah, Evans. Yes. Nailed it. Can't hardly waits
Oh,
on.
so good.
Had to say it. Just look it up. It's comedy. Seth Green, coming of age. Not him as the lead, but you know he's a more recognizable name in there. But yeah,
Jennifer Love Hewitt.
yeah. Preston
I'm Jennifer Love Hewitt.
wears shirts sometimes. So yeah.
Rawr. One of my favorite lines of that movie. Yeah.
Exactly.
He wears t-shirts sometimes.
Sometimes. Hulu, the two originals I was talking about, Palm Springs, Andy Samberg in a Groundhog Day scenario. Very
Okay.
movie. He's basically reliving a wedding reception every single day. But what's unique about this is that there's other people that end up being in the scenario, and it's
Okay.
most Groundhog Day scenario movies is you're only seeing the viewpoint of the one character. So it's kind of cool that they kind of brought some people in it. And then as you're watching it and you realize that, you kind of wonder if other people are in it, but you don't really see it from their angle.
Okay.
But it was very cool. And I've not liked teen comedies for probably over a decade. And I'm probably an admitted Vince Vaughn fanboy, but I did enjoy The Binge, which is kind of the answer to The Purge, is basically in a teetotaler community, one day a year, anybody 18 or above can drink, smoke, do drugs, do whatever they want to, and they do it. And so I thought it was
like a Rumspringa.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. So I thought that was funny. And then on HBO Max, the one I was going back and forth on, Flirting with Disaster.
I've not seen Flirting with Disaster.
Yeah, it's
Tell me about it.
early Ben Stiller. Tia Leone joint.
Okay.
Ben Stiller's married to, I always get them confused, Patricia Arquette, and he's
I always
trying.
get Patricia and David confused.
Rosanna? Is that the other one?
Rosanna.
Yeah,
It was a joke. It was so funny I had to explain it.
no, I'm with you. Because I literally just saw David on something and it sent me a different way. But yeah, Mel Copeland is the main character. He finds out he's recently adopted, so this is him going to find his birth parents, and his caseworker is Taya Leone. So it's the three of them on a road trip, and they keep getting misinformation. So they keep going to the wrong places here and there. Eventually, I won't spoil what happens there, but his real parents end up being Alan Alda and Lily Tomlin.
Okay.
And that whole experience is a whole ride, which is awesome. His adopted parents are Jane Fonda, and I can't remember the dad, but it's hilarious, and it's a fun ride. It's really short, and like going into it, I may have spoiled it. The fact that, you know, every place he goes is going to be wrong. But I think if you realize 30 minutes in, he didn't find his parents yet. But going to each place and him trying to bond with them and realizing and all this, and then all of a sudden Tia gets the call, you know what? I'm sorry, we fucked up again. And it's just like, oh, can we have our T-shirt back? You know, and it's funny, and it's Prime Stiller. It was before like Something About Mary and before like the Stiller bomb. But you know, I was always Ben Stiller's show. Like I was in way early.
Mhm.
I don't want to be one of those guys, but I was a big fan of his. So like his whole catalog. So when this one came out, like Heavyweights, Flirting with Disaster, a lot of his early movies I watched a lot.
Was he in Rat Race?
I don't think he was in Rat Race. I remember that one. That's the Mr. Bean, the play on the
It's
race.
a mad world, right?
Yeah.
That was like the '90s version of that.
Yeah, I don't think he was in it, but he might have been. Another one that I didn't write down, but I saw go by. He was in Tower Heist. I think
Yeah,
Tower Heist is a
Tower
very
Heist is funny.
slept-on movie. It's a very slept-on movie. It was.
Yeah,
It's much better than it had any right to be. But
yeah.
I didn't want to put it on any list, but I remember scrolling through it now that you said, like, you know.
That might be one for a potential upcoming episode that we've been kicking around.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm sure it's on there. It's definitely on there. Well, all right, man. I'll let you go. We're well over an hour now. So that's a bunch of movies for everybody to watch. If you don't find something you like in there, then nothing's going to ever save you. And
We've given you a lot of options, anything from kind of screwball fun comedies through psychological thrillers to heist movies. You got to find something in there that you like. So hopefully it's something that you haven't seen and you can get something new and fun out of it.
Who would have ever thought that there'd be a documentary set in Rockford?
No. Yeah.
Yes. We gave everybody everything, man. So I appreciate you, bud.
Oh, thanks for having me on. This was a lot of fun.
All right. Take care.
See ya. Have a good one.